Hey guys, it's me here with your weekly update. It's so beautiful outside, and I think as soon as I'm done with this video, I'm going to go outside and spend some time with my kiddos, enjoying the beautiful weather. This Sunday, you guys, we're continuing it on in our 40 days of prayer, and we're talking about David. Now, this one isn't necessarily a specific story, although it does kind of talk a little bit about David wanting to build a temple for the Lord. But it's really just about the life of David and how he was a man. David's called a man after God's own heart. And the thing that was exhibited the most in David's life was just his praise and thanksgiving to God. All the prayers he writes is just all about how great God is and how thankful he is to God. I mean, obviously, he has prayers of lament and stuff like that too, but there's a lot centered around thankfulness and gratitude. And, when I think about my own life and when it comes down to the day I die, how are people going to categorize me and how I live my life for the Lord? Are they going to look at Lindsay and say, "Man, like she's somebody who was just like constantly thankful, expressing gratitude, praising God," or was she always like grumbling and complaining and stuff like that? So it's really just giving me something to think about this weekend, especially as I'm about to go and teach this lesson to our elementary kiddos. So I'm just thinking and reflecting on that. I would encourage you guys to as well. I know we're in the midst of the prayer thing as a church. Yeah, so and if you find yourselves like maybe you guys have been in a funk, we're coming up on a year of COVID and things just feel hard and heavy right now. Like I would just encourage you guys, like how can you give praise and thankfulness and express thankfulness and gratitude, even in the midst of all this? How can we do that? What are some things that you're thankful for? Write it down, journal it. Just make a list, or just take a walk and just voice them out loud to God, just to express gratitude. I think that sometimes helps to lift our eyes off of like whatever's going on internally and reminds us like there's a God who loves us and who actually is in control of all this, and that we can rest in him and what he is trying to do. So I would just encourage you guys to try that. This Sunday, you guys, by the way, if you try to check out registrations, you're like, oh, things feel full. I would double check again. I know we've worked really hard, at least in the adult service, to make sure we are constantly on top of the space. So, like, if at once it felt like it was full, and then all of a sudden it's not, because we just had to move things around as people register. But with that, you guys, we're actually even starting to hit the point of where we're getting full in kids classes, which is super exciting. I'll be honest, I did not anticipate this soon in the journey of reopening kids and KidVenture. So first of all, I just want to say if there's any of you guys who are at home thinking, oh, well, Lindsay's not opening up these classrooms or she's limiting numbers because of COVID and stuff like that, we're putting things into place that I think are going to help. Like we have policies in place, like wearing masks and cleaning in the rooms where we can't social distance and stuff like that. Like that's to help with COVID. But in terms of, I mean, and our space is limited in a way, like we'll limit the number of kids. But right now, our biggest thing that's limiting the number of kids that we can have on a Sunday is not our space and it's not COVID. Actually, you guys, it's volunteers. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I can't say it more plainly than that. And listen, I know there's some of you guys who are still waiting for the vaccine and stuff like that. So I don't want anybody to feel like they have to come back if you're not ready. But if you're just if you're like, oh, I've kind of been ready, but there hasn't been space, this is a great way for you guys to help make space within the life of our church, especially for our kids, because, yeah, I mean, I the thought that we're gonna have to turn kids away, it just like makes me just very sad. And it's part of why it's like, hey, I'm teaching this Sunday because I want to have that a room open so that we can have kids come in. And so, and I think as parents are ready, like they're getting vaccinated or they're starting to feel safe and confident, like, okay, they've been doing this a while and we haven't had any cases. I just think I think just wanting to make as much space as possible. And so I know I've talked to some of you guys and we're plugging you guys in and stuff like that, but I don't think right now that we will ever be like, oh no, we don't need any volunteers. So if you guys could just help make space if you're willing, even if it's once a month, I just would love to know that. It would be great to just have your guys' help because, yeah, like I said, I want to be able to create as much space as possible, for our kids that's safe. And enjoyable. I think pre-COVID, we talked a little bit about this, like, we were hitting that point in the classrooms where it just felt very like it could, like some spaces it felt a little overwhelming. And so again, just trying to think through like, okay, well, ratios, like, and it's always like, oh, what's the thing needed the most? And everybody's like, oh, volunteers. So it is. So it is that. And so I'm asking you guys to consider if you are ready to come back to let me know so that I can get you guys plugged in on the schedule. I think every week we're adding like 2 or 3 more people, which is great. But it's just, the way schedules are working out. It's, it just takes a while, and that's okay. So I just wanted to put that out there. Two, well, I guess our next big thing well, we have two things happening in KidVenture, like event wise. I want you guys to know. Next Sunday, March 14th, is daylight savings. It's on one hand, it's wonderful because it gives us the longer days, more sunshine. But it's also that Sunday is also the dreaded, we all lose an hour of sleep, including our kiddos. And even though, the sleep schedules get all messed up, but they go to bed late and they wake up early, and like it's just like all these weird things that happen. So in order to hopefully help make Sundays just a little bit easier for parents, um, and even for those of us who have to serve and then bring our kids with us early, we're going to do a pajama and Pop-Tart morning. So what that's going to look like is everybody can come in their pajamas, volunteers included if you want. And we will have Pop-Tarts for the kids. Now, given the fact that we are in the midst of COVID and we cannot have food in the building, we will just put the Pop-Tarts on the front patio where the chairs and tables are. And I'll just put out boxes of Pop-Tarts already individually wrapped. Parents can just grab and let their kids sit down and eat if they want. So just for you guys to know, so if you're like, oh man, like I can like not have to worry about like feeding my kids breakfast, as that always tends to add time to the morning and stuff like that. And you don't even have to get them dressed because they can just come in their pajamas. I think it would just be fun to provide that as a way, like I said, for families, and just to give the kids something fun to look forward to on a Sunday morning, especially since we don't have our muffins and stuff like that anymore. Due to COVID. And then the next thing is our Easter extravaganza. So we're doing this on Saturday, March 27th. The event is only from 10 to noon. You guys, listen, this is an event that is designed for our community. It is designed to reach those around us, and to provide something for the families and the kids in our community, hopefully a safe, fun way to celebrate the springtime and Easter. In the midst of COVID. And so really, you guys, but the only way we're going to be able to serve our community is if we have people that are willing to serve at this event. Um, so yeah, like, I mean, my goal would be to have 15 to 20 stations. Amy Baltazar is coming up with an amazing list of here's games. So you guys don't even have to think through, like, you don't have to get creative. If you're like, oh man, I'm not a creative person, I can't think of what to do at a table and sit. Like, you don't have to do any of that. I literally just need you guys to show up at 9 a.m., help set everything up, run the station for the 2 hours of the event, and then clean everything up at the end. And even if you're like, oh, I don't know if I could do the whole thing, if you can maybe find somebody to tag team with, or it's like, okay, I'll take the first hour and they're going to like swap out for the second hour. I think that'd be great, you guys. The only way that we're going to be able to make this a great event for our community is if we have people serving and helping out. And so next weekend we have the youth, and our Epic kids are going to stuff all the Easter eggs. I think we're planning like 5,000 eggs that we're going to hand out at this event. We have a great donation coming from the Lego store with Legos and things like that for like a Lego night for families. And then we're putting together movie packets and stuff like that. So lots of fun things like that. We're going to just really try to bless our community. But we need it's relationships, right? So it's people that we need to be able to really bring this home. And so if you guys are going to be around, I would just encourage you guys to help out. And I have included a link in this email for you guys to sign up the different ways that you can help out. And so again, remember, I mean, the stations are probably the biggest need. So that's just showing up for the event. And if you're like, well, I've got kids, if your spouse is available, have your spouse bring them through. That's great. If your kids are old enough, they can help you run the station. If you've got older elementary kids, I bet they would love actually just helping you run the station. My daughter's going to be with me, and my husband's going to be unavailable, so she'll probably, wherever I end up, she'll probably just be following along with me. So I think it's just, like I said, a great way to just serve our community. I just think of like there's several families within the life of our church who are here because of our events. Like their first interaction with our church is because of us doing things like this. So I'm really looking forward to it, and I just really would love you guys to be there with me. It's always so much fun to do it when you're doing it with friends. So let me know. Like I said, sign up on the link, and then I'll send you guys more details. But if you were concerned about being creative or something like that, nope, you guys don't have to do any of that. So thanks so much for watching this, and I will see you all on Sunday. Bye.